Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Something Old, Something New. I fucked up terribly and forgot my own name. Fucking idiot.
I'm Ron Broken.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Something Old, Something New. I'm one of your hosts, Scott, and with me as always,
I'm Rick.
Hello, Rick.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. On this video podcast, we may decide to upload to a podcast server. We'll figure it out, but for right now, let's just do it with still images. So this week, we're going to be talking about The Guest as our older film, and John Wick Chapter 2, which the entire Earth has seen at this point. So I think it's a valid and good thing to talk about. So we always try to do a slightly older movie that maybe everyone's seen and is available on streaming or wherever you can find it by now. In that case, it's The Guest. John Wick Chapter 2. Obviously, you will have to go to a theater for that. So I guess let's get started. What the hell do you want to talk about first there, Rick?
Why don't we get John Wick out of the way? Everyone shows up for John Wick. No one...
So John Wick Chapter 2. I loved it. I did not love it anywhere near as much as I loved John Wick 1.
I thought it was all right. It was, to be honest, after the first movie ended, we're going to make a John Wick 2. What is that going to be? It's exactly what you thought it was going to be. It's one thing about John Wick 1 is I actually, as much as I really like the movie and I think Keanu's great in it and I think the plot's really good in it, I kind of really don't like the underground, like that underground society he lives in. It's, to me, it kind of is a completely different tone than the rest of the movie, and I think it's stupid comic book shit. Like I think we have a fun movie. I think you have a really fun, dark action movie, and then, I don't know, like he goes to this hotel, and it's like a fucking comic book, and I think it's stupid, and this movie is just all that comic book nonsense.
I will agree with you that I don't understand why people keep describing it as like, ooh, it's like a modern day sort of mafia movie. A whole new type of mob you've never seen before. And I'm like,
I've seen this before, but like it's dumb. It goes from being it's like when he goes to that hotel world, like it's like that seems like he's in a fucking DC comic, but the rest of the movie seems like those like 4-print like Vertigo offshoots, like about a detective or something. Like just like those dark short stories that are only like 4 chapters long. That's what the original movie feels like, and this one just feels like fucking DC Comics.
I can't totally disagree with you. I don't hate the hotel thing. I think his little silly world where they have their own currency and shit. I agree with you.
How does the gold work, though? I mean, like is gold like is a gold piece just a transaction? Because he buys a night for the hotel at one point with a gold piece, but then he like in John Wick 2, he buys just a fucking drink with a gold piece. Like, what is a gold piece worth?
Well, doesn't he use the credit card sized gold piece in to get the room, and then he uses that single gold coin to buy a drink?
Is that how it works? I always see him just grab a stack of gold coins.
I gotta be honest, until you brought it up, I really wasn't that concerned with the value of the gold.
I just noticed this. In the second movie, they're never allowed to conduct business when they're in the hotel because it's a safe ground.
Well, they're not allowed in the first one either, though, right?
Yeah, that's the same thing. So, like, he and the guy, like, he's chasing a guy or a guy's chasing him, and, like, they go to have a drink at the bar, and they have a conversation at the bar, like, I'm gonna kill you later conversation. And then, like, this drink is on me, and he puts down the same gold coin that he buys a gun with, which is just like, how does money work in this stupid universe?
So we should, once again, we have skipped past the, hey, what the hell's the movie about? Not that there's anyone listening to this that doesn't know what John Wick 2 is about. But may I summarize very quickly?
Yeah, I actually don't think we spoiled anything, to be honest.
No, we didn't spoil anything.
Yeah,
I'm saying we just didn't explain the basic tenet of the movie. We immediately jumped into minutia of I'm fucking mad at how money works. It's like, why don't you like John Wick 2? I don't understand the value of the gold standard in this world. This is ridiculous. Kubrick faked the moon landing and John Wick has taken us off of the gold standard, people. It's all there underneath the Earth's crust.
You need to invest in Bitcoin.
We need... So this movie, if you've seen John Wick 1, it's the same friggin' movie. Basically, this time around again, instead of having an emotional reason why he's thinking he's back, he just came back kind of because he's forced to by one of the least impressive villains ever in a movie. But he does some great globetrotting. You get to see he gets to go to Italy. You get to see the Italian version of the hotel and the hotel in Italy. The Italian version of Ian McShane is Franco Nero, the original friggin' Django. Like, come on. There's some cool stuff, but whatever.
I didn't hate the movie.
He's well-dressed. He shoots a lot of people. There's a lot of neon, and the linking factor between both movies we're talking about today. America's favorite son, Lance Reddick. So that's the basic plot of the movie. He's out for revenge on a crime lord that wronged him, and he will stop at nothing.
Yeah, this is the first movie. The second movie, he's not out for revenge. The second movie is John Wick 2, An Awkward Situation. The plot of the first movie was Keanu Reeves is basically a sad old widower, and then a group of mob kids break into his house, steal his car, and murder his dog. And it turns out Keanu Reeves is basically the world's greatest killer, and now he's furious because he murdered his dog. The first movie takes 10 minutes to set up this emotional attachment to this dog, which explains why he's so filled with fucking blood rage. The second movie opens up with, "Now I gotta get my car back." You kind of establish this guy doesn't really give a shit about these things. The only thing he cares about is his wife, and the only thing that was connecting him to the wife is the dog. So he was furious about the dog. Why does this character give a shit about the car? Wait, I know. We needed a reason for John Leguizamo to walk on the screen for 2 seconds, because he's going to be important in the third movie.
Can we really just briefly talk about how little John Leguizamo's in this movie?
He's obviously going to be important in the third movie, so they just had to have him walk onto the screen for 2 seconds. That's all I think the car scene was in the beginning. Just an excuse for John Leguizamo to come up.
I like John Wick 2 a lot. I do like the movie quite a bit. I really don't have that much negative stuff to say about this. I'll definitely be picking this up on Blu-ray when it comes out. I do think when John Wick 3 comes out, John Wick 2 will be no one's favorite John Wick movie ever. Because the villain he's fighting is kind of ineffectual. His reasoning is not as strong as it should have been. You're right on all those things. I can't deny any of that.
Well, here's what I do like that both movies do. He gets his target in the end, and it's the most cavalier who gives a shit, just quick flash of a muzzle, and then he just walks away.
Yeah.
And then the movie goes on to something else. But like even in the first movie, when he finally kills the person he's been trying to kill the entire time, it's just a quick, like, boom, and then just walks away like nothing happened. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it wasn't about actually killing this guy. It was just about kind of just, I guess, pouring rage.
You and I are very much part of a, let's just say, film group of people that are perhaps almost religious in their reverence for John Wick 1. We know a lot of people that are just
obsessed with Ron, yeah.
Yeah, like, obsessed to a level where it was like, I like John Wick 1 a lot. I do not like John Wick 1 as much as I like The Raid.
I'll give you that. Raid's awesome.
The Raid is the best fucking action movie. Like, as a diehard...
It's that or Dread, and frankly, they're the same movie.
I love Dread a lot.
They are the same movie.
They're the same idea, but The Raid is so much better than Dread.
I think The Raid is...
And then if we're putting it in the pantheon of world warriors, I'm going to have to add Die Hard, and then it's fucking over for Dread. But...
yeah, I'll give you that.
Like, there are too many things that I love in the past that are better than Dread 3D, although everyone, if you've somehow not seen Dread 3D, holy shit, go see Dread 3D.
That's awesome.
Best. It's so good. But I love John Wick on that Dread, on that The Raid, on that Fast 5 level of like, what a silly movie that's a lot of fun. I loved all the stunt work in the first one. I love the fact that the sequel starts up with all these, like, with a quick Buster Keaton shot. Like, Buster Keaton, obviously most famous stuntman ever, like, done some crazy shit that was unbelievably psychotically dangerous for a man operating with basically a black and white camera and terror on his side. So they do some great callbacks to other classic action movies in this. Like, the whole ending of John Wick 2 is basically a huge homage to that mirror maze from Enter the Dragon, like, which is a little on the nose, but whatever, I accept it. I enjoyed this movie. I did get a little headshot fatigue by the end of it. Like, he kills perhaps a few too many people. And while I don't look too hard at the universe that John Wick lives in, which is
well, unfortunately, like, that's until basically the headshot fatigue starts. Until basically the main event of the movie starts, it's all that universe. Once he's in a bad place, I actually start to like the movie. Like, I started to enjoy it. Like, second half, I like the second half a lot better than...
I enjoyed the whole movie the whole way through. I think the part where I openly started realizing I was smiling while watching it was when he and the other dude were casually walking through the subway.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking
silent, about. Like, casually firing pistols so no one would notice at each other. Like, that was the moment I realized I'd probably been smiling for about 5 straight minutes.
That's what I mean. Once that chaotic thing starts to happen, that's when I started enjoying the movie. Like, but before that, like, I was just kind of bored.
I wasn't bored. I can see completely what you mean. And I absolutely really didn't want to delve too deep into the mythos of Wick's world. But I would say going back to the Raid comparison, I enjoyed John Wick 1 on a similar kind of visceral excitement level that I enjoyed the Raid. Although I think John Wick is obviously a much sillier movie. But I loved the Raid. I think the Raid Redemption is an amazing action movie. And I think when you come back for the Raid 2, a lot of the people that already drank the Kool-Aid on the first movie were like, and the Raid 2's even better! And everything in the Raid 2 is just, it ramps up what the Raid 1 did, but it removes a lot of the quiet tension and the fear of you not knowing what's happening. And it adds car chases, and it kind of like explains the mythos of the world of the Raid, and it gets a little too convoluted.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
What were your problems with the Raid 2?
Basically, what you just described was also my problems with the Raid 2.
I could have done without the car chases. Like
I would have preferred it stayed in the prison. If
yeah,
the whole movie took. I thought I was really excited, which is oh shit, it's the Raid 1, but now it's in a prison. Like I was very excited for that, and then he leaves the prison, and then it becomes The Departed.
It becomes Infernal Affairs Departed. Like it's exactly that. Like it just becomes that movie, and it's not bad, but it's definitely not what I wanted. Like. And John Wick 2, while I like John Wick 2 more than the Raid 2, I feel like it falls into that trap a little bit. I could have done with less lore and more tenseness. Like, I could have dealt with John Wick being a very dangerous man that was still possible to be killed.
Yeah, I agree with that. My other kind of problem with this is, like I said, there's the lore world, and then there's like basically just John Wick is the only killer in the world and is this monster. And in that world, when John Wick is the monster, like he seems like he can kill everybody, but every time the lore enters it, he just seems like he's mildly better than everyone else.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
When you walk into the hotel world, it just kind of seems like, why is everyone afraid of John Wick? Like, he's just mildly better than everyone else. He's not super better than everyone else. Like, mildly.
There are main characters and there are mooks.
He seems very killable. Like, he's just not as impressive in that world.
I'm looking forward to the next movie where it's John Wick versus the Earth.
I like the way it ended.
I like the way it ended.
John Wick versus the Earth.
I'm excited for where it's going to go.
Dog is definitely going to die.
No, I don't think they'll kill the dog. I'm going to throw this out here right now. They're not going to kill the dog again. Because I feel like the only thing that they got bad criticism for on the first movie, I think was people that got really far more hurt than they expected about that dog dying in the first movie. So I think that dog will live a hilarious thing that should definitely have killed that dog. Like an Independence Day, the dog jumps through a lake of fire level. Like that dog will live something so dumb. That will be the joke in 3. And right after, if you wait till after the credits, they go, your dog contracted leukemia as the last thing right before it goes to black. So, okay. I mean, I really like John Wick. I recommend people see it. I definitely recommend people see it in the theater.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I would also recommend, despite, I guess, me picking on it a bit. Yeah, it's still fun. The second half of the movie is a lot of fun.
All right, that's John Wick. On the whole, a recommendation, but I perhaps me very much stronger than you.
Definitely. You definitely liked it a lot more than I did.
I think I fell down the black hole with you. I'm like, what are we bitching about shit? Yeah, I'm in. Let's whine. I'm in too. I can't help it. I'll jump in like, what are we tag teaming something? Let's beat the shit out of this thing. You liked it though. I'll break its nose. Like that steak.
I wanted to destroy something beautiful.
John Wick 2 is a lot of fun. Make Keanu work forever.
Agreed.
And Morpheus. Hey.
Oh yeah, Morpheus was in it. And Lance Reddick.
Oh yeah, the connecting factor that we talked about ahead of time of why we would connect these movies.
There's actually 2 connecting factors between these movies. Lance Reddick and A Maze of Mirrors.
Oh, all right, fair enough. That is correct.
This actually could be the Maze of Mirrors podcast.
All right, you know what? That's a better connection than Lance Reddick.
Because Lance Reddick is not really, like, he's kind of in John Wick, and he's kind of in The Guest.
He's the front desk clerk. Guardian, I need you to go here. John Wick.
Guardian, leave your dog with me.
You've got a raid to run. All right, so that brings us to our next movie, 2014's The Guest, starring Dan Stevens, the guy from Downton Abbey.
Okay, so you know him from somewhere else. I kept thinking this guy looks like both Paul Walker and Captain America at the same time.
Oh, no, he's the...
I spent the entire movie going, is that Captain America? Is that Paul Walker? Was Paul Walker alive in 2014? When did Paul Walker die?
The dude, Dan Stevens, was Matthew on Downton Abbey. Don't you shame me. The first season of Downton Abbey is required viewing, god damn it. He's the American character who like kind of wanders into Downton Abbey and goes like, what's up? I don't know your weird conventions, rich English people. What's up with this? He's the viewer's surrogate for the first few seasons of the show. So seeing him play a total badass, I did not see coming. So I like the guest a lot.
So I had a thought. I actually never heard of this movie. Before you suggested it, I didn't know anything about it. So I knew it wasn't going to go in this direction, but like for like maybe the first half of the movie, I was kind of hoping this was going to be Good Guy Pale Rider. I was really hoping that like it's the ghost of the brother who come back to beat up everyone who has wronged his family. Just for good reason. I knew it wasn't going to end that way because Lance Reddick had to show up at some point.
Sorry for the Lance Reddick connecting pre-spoiler, I guess. I actually don't think we've spoiled anything in John Wick so far.
I was actively trying very hard.
I'm going to assume right now that we're probably going to end up spoiling the guest. So real quick, the guest, just plot rundown, because we should just get in the habit of doing that, I suppose. This mysterious guy, played by Dan Stevens, shows up at a family's house in basically middle America, wink, wink, not 1980s. You know, we're here again. And says he was in the unit with their dead son and promised their son when he was dying in the field that he would look after his family. Shows up, seems like a super nice guy, but things are darker than they appear. That's basically it. It's mild spoiler. What if Captain America was evil?
Basically, yeah, that's 100% what the plot of the movie is.
It's directed by Adam Wingard. He's the guy who did You're Next, and to a lesser extent, Blair Witch. But I haven't seen Blair Witch yet, so I'm not going to talk shit on that movie.
Oh, the new Blair Witch. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that name being connected to the old one.
No. New one. But more importantly, You're Next.
I heard that's terrible.
Really?
The new Blair Witch?
Oh, I thought you meant You're Next. I was going to say, like,
I thought You're Next was okay. I didn't
Let me clarify. I didn't love You're Next. I thought You're Next was a little overhyped. But what they did, he really explored the space. I appreciated... Like, it was a movie for people that were in on the joke. So your level of seal clapping when you recognize that a movie has signaled to you that this is for you if you're in on the joke, that will affect how much you enjoy Your Next. But I really liked that movie a lot. I thought it was very stylish, and he obviously knew his craft, did exactly what he wanted to do. And the guest is a very John Carpenter influenced. I mean, the score alone uses the same equipment that he used to do. It also takes place in that nebulous non-80s that every friggin' movie has to take place in nowadays. Now, I will give him this. It was 2014, so the 80s of The Guest is less draining on me than it is in 2017, where I'm now just very tired of every movie taking place with synth and 80s.
I think, to be honest, every movie was in the 50s because every writer and director grew up in the 50s for a bit, and then the 50s and 60s, and then we just had the period of the 70s, and we've just kind of graduated to the 80s now because people our age are now making movies. So they're nostalgic for the 80s. I remember being a kid and being fucking annoyed that everything took place in the 50s and the 60s. So I think that's what's happening. It's important to note that he's talking thematically at the 80s. The movie itself does not take place in the 80s. It's a modern day movie.
It's a modern movie that like lives in wink, wink, not 80s town. So, you know, there's enough 80s nods. Half the soundtrack is that synth kind of stuff. It's another one of those movies that basically has the Fez soundtrack, like everything that came out for the past 17 years now. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I think it had a great setup. I think they really made you fall in love with Dan Stevens' character. The way he beat the shit out of those bullies was...
Beat the shit out of some kids today.
It was for a purpose.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to order that drink next time I'm in a bar.
Which one?
The Fireball.
Yeah.
The blinder.
It's for the record, it's tasty, but it did become the douchebag beverage of choice with it.
All right, I'll be a douchebag one night.
No. You're doing it for the goof. That's different. You can do anything for the goof. Yeah, I have a bunch of friends that specifically make fireballs everywhere they go, and yeah, they're exactly those club douche type folk.
Yes, but is it to blind children and then beat the shit out of them?
If you're using it to assault minors, I think that's fine. Obviously,
What I was saying earlier in the beginning of the movie was I was kind of hoping this movie would turn out to be a good guy, pale rider. Is like the first thing he does is the little brother of the family is getting bullied at school, and like he recognizes, so who hit you? And so nobody hit me with a football. Come on, who hit you? He points at the boys. I'm like, so okay. They get in the car and they follow him to the bar where he proceeds to beat the shit out of them and then logic his way out of legal trouble. He's really good at that.
yeah.
I was just hoping he'd just like, this is our dead brother who came back from the dead just to beat up everyone who crossed our family and make our lives better. And then he's just going to disappear like Clint Eastwood at the end of the movie.
I didn't think Pale Rider. I got a lot of vibes of. You ever see that movie The Wraith, where Charlie Sheen has a magic car?
It's on television again. Also, it's on Netflix.
It's fantastic. It's not, let me clarify, it's not fantastic, but it's fantastic. It's one of those movies where Randy Quaid is to be taken seriously, so it's hard to swallow.
He's not a bad actor.
Listen to me.
Like, he actually can be, like, as much as Randy Quaid it will always be a fucking freaked guy to me. Whatever his name was in Freaked. Styrofoam cup. But, like, what was the movie with Jack Nicholson? The Last Detail. Like, I think he's really good at it.
He's excellent. The Last Detail.
He's super young. He's like how old is he in The Last Detail? He's like 18 years old at that point.
Oh, he's very young. It's one of those like, but I mean, he's in, what the hell is the one where they're in prison? I can't think of the goddamn name, something Express, where the guy gets caught in a foreign prison and, Randy Quaid is like the badass in a foreign prison.
I would believe that. He probably is true. That's probably true now.
He's like a 9 foot. He's like a 9 foot tall behemoth. I don't know how we got on a Randy Quaid tangent, but let me just say, any movie with Dennis Quaid, better film with Randy Quaid.
Oh yeah, the preferred Quaid.
The Chris Penn, Sean Penn argument for the Quaid family.
Wrong Penn died.
Wrong Penn died.
Do you think he thinks about that? Do you think he shoots out of bed every night? My brother should be here. He's better than me.
No, there's no way. Sean Penn is not cool enough to recognize that Chris Penn is the better Penn.
It's in his nightmares, and he wakes up, and then he goes back to being a douchebag.
The ghosted nice guy Eddie keeps showing up on his doorstep feeling like, you know what?
You know what, Dewey?
You should have died. I could have been Dead Man Walking.
I could have been Harvey Milk.
Hey, it's me, Harvey Milk. I'm one of those gay types.
Here to recruit you.
Academy Award-winning actor Chris Penn. God, we've gotten off on a tangent. So anyway, The Guest. I agree with you. I felt like The Wraith, where it did seem like he was coming back to right the wrongs.
Yes.
And I feel bad that it turned dark at the end.
I actually did, yeah, because I was liking the fun. I was liking it for, like, you knew it had to.
Yeah.
Like, you knew it had to the entire time, but I was kind of hoping out that it would just not go that way, and then it does. But it's good still after that, but...
Yeah, I don't mind the dark ending, but, like, there's definitely an alternate universe where I like the movie that just was, like, ended with nothing, and he, like, convinces... I don't know, Harvard to give the kid a scholarship. Like, that's like, I hope that's the last scene of the alternate, of the Berenstein
he beats
universe.
Up the Dean of Admissions.
Yeah.
Fucking holds his arm behind him and has him bent over at a desk, has him sign the admission form with his teeth.
Let this girl into your Legally Blonde school. And that's how we got Legally Blonde. What the hell?
It's Legally Blonde Guidance.
Legally, yeah.
How did Reese Witherspoon actually get into Harvard? Well,
you haven't seen Legally...
the dead. Wait, what?
You haven't seen Legally Blonde 0, The Guest? Oh, man. I'm a big fan of this movie. I like it a lot. The 80s stuff works really well. I think the little horror movie kind of a little convenient, but I'll accept their horror movie setup with the little mirror maze at the end of the movie.
2 movies with mirror mazes.
2 movies with mirror mazes.
At the end, 2 movies with Lance Reddick and a mirror maze.
I think The Guest is one of those hidden gems that I love introducing people to The Guest. Like, I feel like most people I've shown it to have come away with it with like, fuck, where did this thing come from? And how did no one hear about this? Like, it just appeared. It was just like one day The Guest was out and people were excited about it, but only a very small sector. Now, I don't quite understand hiring the guy who made This and You're Next to make a Blair Witch movie, but whatever. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm sure it's fine, or we'll see. Who knows?
I heard it's bad.
I didn't hear great things.
I heard it's really bad.
I heard actually both camps.
I heard it's fucking boring, which is the worst thing you can hear.
I hear it's excellent, or I hear it's boring. So I don't know. But I'm interested in seeing the Blair Witch because so far that's 2 for 2 on this guy for me. Like I didn't think Your Next was as good as the hype indicated that it was, but nothing was going to live up to that hype. So I really like Your Next nonetheless. And The Guest I heard nothing about except what if Captain America was evil? And that's the most correct way to describe this thing. And I really love this movie.
I agree. I also liked it a lot. It's definitely worth a watch.
If you have not gotten tired by every movie claiming they're like a John Carpenter movie, you will like this movie a lot. This is one of the few movies that I actually think pulls off the John Carpenter thing. But yeah, I think that's it. So we've got 2 movies we talked about this week. John Wick Chapter 2, which I really quite liked.
It's fine.
And Rick thinks it's fine.
It's fine.
And The Guest, which I think is one of my favorite recent movies. I was very impressed by The Guest. It definitely surprised the shit out of me. And I could tell from your face already that this is not going to be an agreement from you, so go.
I thought it was good. I wouldn't go that far. It's fine. It's worth watching.
The Guest has become one of my go-to, like, dude, you should see this movies. Like, it's one of those movies you used to be able to have found at Blockbuster and be like, oh, okay, remember how everyone found Cube? Like, it was just some shit that was on a shelf in Blockbuster, and it was just like, oh, man, you got to rent this Cube movie. That's a hell of a film. This is very much a movie in the frame of one of those movies you would find at Blockbuster and be pleasantly surprised by, oh, shit, this is pretty fun. I like this fun movie. I don't think it's an excellent movie, but it's something where somebody's like, I don't know what I want to watch. I want something new, but I can't. What's a good recommendation? I think The Guest fits that as well as Cube did, as well as something like, I don't know, anything Christopher Lambert's been in that wasn't fucking Highlander. Like any of those types of movies, like
Mean Guns.
That's the one. Yeah, Mean Guns is this fucking stupid movie that's like, you know what? Mean Guns is a lot of fun. And The Guest fills that Mean Guns Cube level. I found this shit on the shelf and just went, all right, I guess let's give it a shot. And I fucking ended up loving The Guest. I highly recommend it.
Also recommended.
It should be noted that my recommendation is a high recommendation, and Rick's is an if you have time recommendation.
Yeah, that's where I would put it, to be honest. It's fine. It's enjoyable.
I hear you. I can accept incorrect criticism. You goddamn son of a bitch. All right, so that's good for me. Let's wrap up another episode of Something Old, Something New. We'll be posting these on purefiller.com amongst a bunch of other hornswoggle. And yeah, you can check out more here. Please subscribe, like, do what you will. Show it to your friends. We'll appreciate it. We like things. There are times we like things.
Sometimes. Him more than me.
Have I become the meanie boy that actually fucking likes things more?
Perhaps you're right.
My God.
I'm the crusty old man.
I don't know.
I don't like anything.
I think it might just be this week because I feel like I tend to be the pissier of us. So,
what the hell did we do? What was the last 2 movies we did?
Split and Green Room.
I liked Split more than you did. Have a nice day, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.